Hey folks, welcome to WP Roundtable episode 172. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, my friend Nicole, Paschen Caylor. How you doing, Nicole?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Having a productive Monday so far?
Yeah, it's been good. I'm actually back in my home office in Virginia instead of working remote from Michigan. So getting to see coworkers and catch up on stuff has been really good.
That's really cool. Yeah. How long are you there?
Just this week.
Yeah. Well, is that something you do annually?
Twice a year. They fly me back to check in and do some team building and things. Yeah.
That's always fun. Yeah.
It
As
is.
distributed teams, it's something that we've got to take seriously. A little bit of FaceTime is important.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah. Pretty cool. So Nicole works at BoldGrid, and we're going to talk a little bit about Nicole's background and BoldGrid, what BoldGrid does. We've already interviewed one of your coworkers once before, about 20 some episodes ago. Mike Demo was on the show before. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Before we do, let's touch on our quick picks of the week. This is part of the show where each of us just shares something interesting and new that we've come across. It could be anything that we think is worth sharing. Doesn't have to be related to our work necessarily. And I am really into the latest season of the Revisionist History podcast. But isn't everybody? It's the greatest podcast basically that there is. Malcolm Gladwell's show. And I think it's season 3 that recently started airing. And it's fantastic, as always. Every episode is just like the best. If you only subscribe to one podcast, besides mine, that's the one. So check that out. That's my quick pick of the week. Nicole, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, actually, I have a website, hourofcode.com, that I use a lot when I teach kids to code. And every time I go back to it, there's new content, new tutorials, updated tutorials. So that's just a fantastic resource that's always constantly growing. Yeah, and we can talk more about that later when we get into what I do. But
okay,
it's a really good site. That's constantly updating is awesome.
That's really cool. So this is just a resource that you use in your efforts. Okay,
correct.
Wow. Yeah, it looks pretty awesome. Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about your background, Nicole, and get people up to speed on, how you ended up where you are. I've interviewed a lot of people in this space, and a common story, basically everybody at the end says, like, I don't know exactly how I got here. It's kind of by accident a little bit to some degree, but I want you to see if you can take us back to a time early in your career, or maybe at the very beginning when you decided this is a path I think I'm going to try and walk down for myself professionally, a vision that I have for the future me. What was that vision that young Nicole had, and how'd you get started on the path?
Sure. So I always knew I wanted to work with e-commerce and websites and on computers, basically. So
Always?
I actually have always.
Wow. Okay.
I have to be in front of a computer since I was in 3rd grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I always knew that was me.
How'd you get started?
I'm trying to think. So I have a e-business degree with a web design specialty. So I have a degree relevant to the industry.
Wow, and that's unusual.
I know. So I've had jobs where I just design, one-off websites for people. I worked for an e-commerce company that sold swimming pool supplies out in California. But none of that was WordPress related. That was just, general coding. I took a few years off to stay home with my kids when they were little. And then when I went back to work, the job that I found that was, entry-level WordPress, creating websites for people. So I quickly watched all the tutorials I could and learned about WordPress and went in there. And I just got up and running very quickly and moved up quickly. And it's been, going to the WordCamps too really solidified that I want to be in this industry for me.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that wasn't probably too long ago because your kids still aren't that old.
No, I joined the WordPress community three years ago. It was May 2015.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So when you started, were you doing kind of freelance work, or did you get a job at an agency?
I had a job at a company. It's the parent company for BoldGrid. I worked in a different department doing, custom designs for WordPress for single customers. You have a dentist office, you get, a dentist website.
Cool.
So it was very customized solutions for like single, people.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. So that got you caught back up on what's happening.
Website, yeah. Responsive design wasn't a thing before I left, and so I had to learn that.
Right. You probably came in and were like, gosh, a lot changed in that time.
Yeah. All the CSS classes I used to use didn't work anymore, and I was just like,
oh no. It's really like, if there's one thing about our industry that frustrates me, and well, there's a number of things, but that is one of them that's on the list, that it's not very forgiving for people who take a break
right,
for a little while. It just changes so fast.
Yep.
And we all struggle to stay relevant. I mean, even if you just like, even if you're not even taking a break, you're just slowing down. You're just getting caught up in your daily work and not continuing to learn. Very quickly, you can become irrelevant, and clients are asking you for something you don't know anything about, and you're producing things that are below industry standard. Next thing you know, yeah, it's tough.
It is. But now that I'm with BoldGrid, we're doing more generalized solutions. So I went from thinking about, making a site look good for one customer to making like templates that look good for thousands. So it was an interesting exercise for my brain to go from the one to many.
I'm sure. So design is now kind of an emphasis for you. Were you doing creative design stuff the whole time? Really?
Before it was like I would get like a comp and then I'd code it. So I was mainly a coder. I don't do graphic design. I don't have that background. Like with Illustrator and Photoshop, like I can use them, but I'm not an expert. So it's more like code based.
Gotcha. Okay. But like a front end designer,
developer, those words are so,
yeah, sure. They're
I make websites. I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, that's still an awesome thing to be into, and at a good time, where I think those are important skills. So right now you're getting to be a little more creative maybe than ever before.
Yes. Now I actually am creating content from the ground up for BoldGrid. I do the designs and blocks and things like that. So it's been good. It's been a learning experience for me, for sure.
Wow. Okay.
And
we should catch anybody up who isn't too familiar with BoldGrid a little bit, like set the stage, like what is BoldGrid about, and then after that we're going to jump into like how you got involved in the project, because you were with a different department, you said. First, what's BoldGrid all about?
So BoldGrid is basically a WordPress builder. It's a website builder. We give you an option of 20 themes and starter content for different industries. And you go through the whole process and get one of our themes and all of our plugins. And it's really just a complete kind of website solution, because we have SEO, we have backup, we have that starter content, we have the page builder. There's just a lot of pieces that come together to make it a complete experience.
Wow. Yeah. I've seen some demos before, and it's pretty like rich, feature rich product.
Yeah. The post and page builder specifically has a lot of hidden features. If you drill down deep enough, you can do so much with it.
I've gotten an impression that it has a bit of a different angle to it than a lot of other products in the space. It's there are a lot of tools available, which are just like also rich in features, but really emphasize like you can dream it, you can build it, because everything is available. Like point and click your way. If you have a vision, you can execute it with our tool set. And like it's the whole hardware store full of tools at your fingertips here. And the only problem with that is you have to have this vision, and you have to like know what you're striving for, and that has to be a good end goal too. And then you have to use those tools to execute upon it. But the impression that I've gotten from the BoldGrid features is that it's really emphasizing a lot more like what's that end goal, or like selecting from some end goals and like taking you on a very fast track to get to that. without really compromising a lot of those customizable features, which is kind of the cool thing. But also not just like saying, here's the whole hardware store, have fun, but like, let's get you a website as quick as possible that works and has what you need.
Yep.
Like kind of there.
Yeah, for sure. So we call the one plugin inspirations, because it's supposed to inspire you to make an amazing site. Like looking at a blank editor page, it's really daunting. You're just like, okay, I have a blank space. What do I do with it? Whereas if you import one of our themes with starter content, you actually see, if you pick restaurant, you'll see pictures of food and headings that are, you know, industry appropriate. And whereas obviously you're going to go in and change that and make it your own, it's still just a better visualization of what the end goal is. So I think that's awesome. Just
I do too. Yeah. I do too. I really like for a lot of people, especially, I mean, for any of us really, but especially for new users, there's nothing scarier than a blank slate. Like, just, you don't know what to do or where to start.
I still get scared. I still get scared by an empty page. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. This is what I do for a living, and I still, it just feels so relaxed and helped by any kind of a template, if you will. You know, if it's just a series of simple fields and questions and checkboxes and stuff like that, where each question is simpler than just like a big white empty page or a box, like fill this up and go crazy. It's so much simpler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's two ways you can get content. One is to download our Inspirations plugin, and that's where you get access to our 20 themes with the starter content for the different industries. But we also have the post and page builder, which is through, you can get it through WordPress.org now. You can get it through the repo. And that has this function called add block, which is just an actual, just like a chunk of content, like a row. Mm-hmm. And then you can put the different blocks together. You know, there'll be about us blocks or CTA blocks or a service block. Mm-hmm. And you can just kind of pick your different blocks and piece together a website on your own, but you're still getting paragraphs and images and all of that stuff responsively designed and all of that. So you can build, you can get a 5-page website and modify that, or you can just add one block at a time and modify that. So 2 plugins kind of doing the same thing, just differently for different workflows.
Right. Okay, so there's the inspiration plugin, there's the page builder plugin on WordPress.org. I mean, like, how do people get all of these things?
Sure. So if you go, BoldGrid.com has direct downloads of all 6 of our plugins, and 3 of them are now in the repo. Our SEO, backup, and post and page builder got into the repo fairly recently, which was very exciting.
Yeah. Awesome. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to work on getting the other ones in there, and
Otherwise, how are most people finding out about the tools?
Well, BoldGrid.com, like I said, has them all available for download. Mm. And that's just usually where we direct people.
Sure. What's been working in terms of like getting people to adopt it and find out about it to begin with?
It's been a lot of word of mouth and like sponsoring the WordCamps, because we're still a relatively new product. We've only been out for maybe a year and a half, well, 2 years, I guess now. I lose track of time. But yeah, so it's been a lot of like sponsoring the WordCamps and other events, really just trying to get our name out there, show people demos of what we are and what we can do. And it's a little difficult like explaining it, but once you see it in person and really see everything it can do, it gets to be, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, that's a good example of one of those products that helps to go out and like hit the street and show demos. You know, when it is those kinds of products where if you see it, you know, you'll get the idea. That's cool. So how does BoldGrid make money?
We do have a premium license that's $60 a year that gives you access to additional like blocks, additional features in our backup plugin, and we're going to be expanding the premium offerings soon. We just started having the premium keys relatively recently. It was all free, trying to get feedback, trying to get out into the community. And now we're trying to, switch to here's some premium content, and that premium content is going to grow over time.
Wow. Do you know anything about, I don't know, if you don't know, it doesn't matter, but I was just curious about user base consisting of more users building their own site for maybe their business or something, or others choosing it as their tool of choice when building sites on behalf of other people?
Right. We are hoping that both kind of people will use that. Like the inspirations, you go through, you get a site, you modify it. That's all really pretty easy to do for any end user. Whereas the agencies really might want to just take our framework, because you can make child themes based on our framework. Mm-hmm. So they would want to do that, make their own theme, and do it that way. Yeah.
Sure. So day to day, you're working on, you said, designing some blocks, I think. What else? What other stuff do you get to design?
I design basically content that goes in the themes.
Okay.
And then I do like QA testing for the plugins or front end acceptance testing, and I do a lot of random things. I make a lot of spreadsheets.
I love spreadsheets. I love a good spreadsheet.
I love spreadsheets.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's good. I feel at home in a good spread. Like a lot of my job have become like just managing spreadsheets.
Yep. Me too.
So when you're designing this stuff, like what's your inspiration? How do you like try to get into the head of your prospective user for like this particular type of site?
Sure. Yeah. Like if I know I want to make a fashion site, for example, like, I'll go to our competitors and see what they have, go to Pinterest, see what I can find. And then, our tool, really we have to make the content with our tool, with the post and page builder. So I try to, not replicate the designs, but, make something that's similar enough for the industry, then, within our space.
Wow. Like that in itself sounds like such an interesting problem, because I've come from a long background of making websites for people and businesses, and I'm making it for them specifically. But the challenge of designing for like an ideal of an industry,
right?
Like this is something that could epitomize a fashion website, the quintessential restaurant website. To try and design those and capture like all of the expectations that the masses would come with. Yeah. That sounds like a unique challenge, maybe a little bit fun.
It is fun. It's a lot of seeing, like, if a lot of the other competitors, like for a music site, for example, a lot of those are darker colors with like bright accents. So you'll have like a black site with bright pink as like an accent or something like that.
Right.
And when 4 out of 5 competitors have, that's what their music site looks like, it's like, well, they must be onto something then. And, So just try to make them look like the look and feel of them similar. But I mean, I'm not just blatantly ripping off designs, obviously that sounds bad, but just like the look, kind of getting the look and feel of them. So, because people are going to look at them side by side, do I want this theme or do I want this theme? And if they're blatantly different, then that might kind of sell them on one or the other. But I still think they want a similar look and feel kind of across the board.
Can you think of one that was the hardest and maybe one that was the easiest?
The different industries?
Yeah.
I haven't done them all yet. Trying to think. I'm struggling right now. Well, for me personally, fashion is hard because I don't understand it. It's like, but that's just me. Yeah.
I don't know what that means to understand fashion. I
don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I can imagine that would be tough. But it sounds like a cool job. So day to day, you're just bouncing around a lot of things. You're designing stuff, coming up with new ones. You're building spreadsheets, going to a few WordCamps.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. I mean, what's your team like? You mentioned you're the only designer to me before.
Yes.
So you work with a team of other
developers. Yeah. Yep. There's four guys working on it, and me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty cool.
It's a good little team. Yeah. I've been working with them since 2015, 2016. So yeah, it's been a good ride.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from them, so much. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They've really helped me grow a lot and helped me transition to this team and really excel and grow once on this team. So they've been really good.
Oh. So it sounds like it's a environment where you're really getting to develop and put your talents to good use.
Yes. I mean, I say I'm a product developer just like they are, but I just say I develop it differently. I develop it more from a design aspect, and they develop it more from like the code aspect. But it all has to come together at the end. So yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It's fun.
It sounds fun. And it's an interesting time. I wonder, like, what your maybe you don't have much, but maybe you do have some like commentary on how what it's like managing and developing a product like this in the time that we're in right now. Like the WordPress space is, it's seeming a little volatile and is changing kind of rapidly. Especially those of us who have been in it for a little while feel like, wow, things are different now. And for somebody working on a product like BoldGrid, it seems particularly an interesting time.
Yeah. Well, BoldGrid is, I don't know. Yeah, we have so many different products, then they're all going to interact with, you know, the WordPress core stuff differently. But I know with Gutenberg coming out, with our post and page builder, there's going to take, well, any builder is going to have some additional integration work for Gutenberg, obviously. So that's probably our biggest concern right now. Is gotcha. Becoming, yeah.
The landscape is going to be a little bit different after that.
For sure.
Yeah. But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we certainly will. Anyway, you do a lot of really interesting things on the side, and I want to touch on that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about how you got involved in working with youth.
Okay, I'm trying to remember how this all started now. I think they wanted speakers at WordCamps to, like, you know, go to WordCamps and represent the company and give talks and stuff. And that just seemed the most accessible to me because I had these little kids and I work at home. So they're always coming in and being like, what are you doing? And sitting in my lap, looking at what I'm designing. And my son will be like, oh, I want that color, not that color. And they just think it's kind of fun to sit there and watch me. So once I realized that they had, you know, programs that could teach young children like basic programming and logic concepts, I showed it to my son and he was just all about it. It was his new favorite thing to play these little games. And I realized there was something there. Like, this is a resource that I don't think too many people know about, you know, that you can actually teach like a 6 or 5-year-old some of these concepts. That seems crazy on some level, but it's so fun to them. And this is really the time that learning, you know, how when they're littler, they learn better, easier, faster. Whereas when you're adult, yeah, your brain just works differently. So now is really the time to be getting these things into their head while they're still sponges.
It's so true. So true.
So yeah, that's basically how it started. Was I played them with my son, and then I developed the talk for WordCamp Grand Rapids last year, and then I've given it at Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, and Miami. It's just a lightning talk. I just want to get the information out there to people who need it, or want to do it.
Largely highlighting resources, or more emphasizing inspiration for people to like really do this and take it seriously?
Well, given that the audience was already at a WordCamp, I didn't think I needed to convince them that teaching kids to code was important. So I kind of cut that slide out. But I did originally have more about why you should do this, but then that just seemed like preaching to the choir. So I took it out.
Sure. That's fair.
And then, yeah, I just show them the games on the different websites and little tips and tricks on how to do things. And yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. And you said you have done a little bit of this with your kids. Is there anything else that you're doing to, teach others?
Sure. Yeah, I volunteer at a local elementary school. I went in an hour a month. They had a Fun Friday, they called it. And in every classroom, they did something different, cooking or drawing or coding in my case. And so I had 3rd through 5th graders, an hour a week for like or an hour a month for about 7 months. And it was really, really fun to see them. I guess like they more kids signed up, they could fit in the room, and I was just like, yay. And yeah, it was good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Is that a program that pre-existed or before? Yes. Okay.
Yep, it was a pre-existing program. And then my son last year was his first year at this school. So when he started going there, I went and met with a technology director, whatever. So, and I gave her my business card and just said, hey, I'm trying to get into this. There's free resources if you ever want me to come in and just do like 1 hour of code, like just to kind of get people going. And then she said that they actually use it already in the middle school level, this hour of code. I was like, great, let's get them going even earlier then. So now we're getting them into it 3rd through 5th grade. And then the next goal will be K through 3rd grade, getting it in there.
Wow.
Yeah, it seems crazy, like teaching kindergarteners. But yeah, for sure, we can do it.
That sounds amazing. Okay.
And then next year, I'm trying to get an after-school club started with the middle school because it's an elementary middle school combo thing. So in the middle school wing, I'm going to do, as an after-school club, just make a website. We'll load them up with BoldGrid. I'll show them how to use it. And yeah, free little make a website class kind of for them. And that will also help get the BoldGrid name out there and get people using it and get feedback. And
wow.
Yeah. I like working with kids. They're just so excited and like they're into it. And yeah.
How, like you've now done it for a little while, interacting with the kids. I'm curious what the experience is and like, how do kids, how do they take it and respond to it? And what's their interest level?
Well, like I said, they had to sign up specifically for that Fun Friday class. So they knew that that was something they wanted to do going into it.
Okay.
So I had a very receptive audience. And some of the kids had already done it. And they were done with my little tutorial in 10 minutes. And they were off making whatever they wanted to make. But they were still like coding and doing, similar activities for the whole time, which I appreciated. Like they were clearly into it and having fun. So yeah, that's basically all the response I got was, this is so fun. I want to keep doing it. And I was like, I will email anybody's parents and tell them this is educational. Okay. Like, yeah.
Wow. That is super cool. Are kids like kind of building on top of that or following up with like other programs that are the next step, like they say, this is fun. What can they go on to after? Yeah.
Yeah. So I had 2 different groups. I had one group for the first 3 months and then a second group for the next 3 months. So after the first and second time, they'd come back and be like, oh, I put this on my tablet at home, or oh, I did this at home. And that was really awesome hearing that they continued with it outside of the classroom. And the tutorials that we used really grow with the children, so they can start it in kindergarten or 1st grade, but then use it up to 8th, 9th, 10th grade. So it goes from teaching what we call block coding to teaching legit, like, real code. So it just kind of steps them towards that. And as long as they keep up with it, yeah.
Sure. Okay, cool.
They'll do very well.
And so Hour of Code is one of the resources that you use?
Yeah, that's the main one because it's run out of code.org, the nonprofit. So they have tons of free tutorials from everything up from pre-reader up to university level. There's stuff on there I can't even do. Yeah. So it's a big, extensive site. And they also have a K through 12 curriculum. So you can actually teach it in a school just through code.org, all for free.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Is it something that is oriented more towards classroom environments or like individual learning or both?
Both. So it's individual learning because a little pop-up will come up to say, hey, play this game. And the kid clicks it and plays the game, and that's fun. But a lot of these programs have teacher tutorials, educational documentation, basically, for it actually fulfills this core thing, for their curriculum. Like by doing this, you've fulfilled these 10 things that you have to do anyway. So they do have those for most of the programs, which is awesome.
I love this and passionate about it too. I mean, learning to code is one of the coolest, most valuable things that like a child could do. And it's one of those things, like if I ever got a question like, what do you wish you would have done more of? It's like, there's a great example. I wish I would have learned this more earlier on in my education. Why is this something that you're so passionate about? Why do you feel so strongly about this? Have the energy to volunteer and teach these kids this thing specifically?
I think it's just, yeah, because of my kids, because my son is just so excited about it. And he likes knowing I come into his school and teach the other kids. And he's upset I can't go into his room because he's in first grade. So I'm like, next year I'll try. And it's just really cool. It kind of gives me a different connection with my kids that really spans, the age groups better, because this is something that they can continue to do through adulthood. And I just think it's a really important skill. Because a lot of it is like logic puzzles at this age. It's not even like coding, but it's just more like principles, like, like the logic. I use this one a lot. It's like, write me a program to get ready for school. Like, what do you need to do? And they'll be like, brush my teeth, eat breakfast, take a shower, or whatever it is. Like, get dressed, then take a shower. I'm like, You get dressed, then take a shower? And like, just getting them to think like critically and logically. And it's more of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It is really funny though that something about programming, you really immerse yourself in it and you learn it. Like, your brain works differently. Just fundamentally, you think differently.
Yes.
If you really just
I just read everything as a series of like if-then statements now, and it's just like
right. Right. I really think that you become just more logic oriented, and just like see the world in a different way.
Mm-hmm. And like stepping back and seeing the bigger picture, like, I want to accomplish this thing. Yeah, you have to think all of the steps through. So a lot of them, it's like there's like a maze that they have to navigate through, but they have to input like 5 different directions all at once. It doesn't show you like you move forward and then you turn left and then you move forward again. It's like you have to put in all the different commands and then hit run and then see what your little ball does. So it really is, it's hard at first for these kids, like, because you can't see an immediate response to when you hit one button forward. You have to put all the inputs in. Yeah, that's different for them.
Wow, that's brilliant. I've actually talked with some other guests about similar things, like who have had kids, and there are educational toys and tools and classes teaching them about programming and robotics, and some of that stuff is super cool these days. I love it. I can't wait to start getting into it when Abigail gets a little older.
That'll be fun.
You've recently been getting more involved in your local WordPress community. That's kind of cool. Grand Rapids has a sweet community. Really good.
It really does. Yeah, for sure. I was an organizer for Grand Rapids. I'd never been a WordCamp organizer before, so that was really fun to help out and help make decisions and see more of the setup, because I'd only really attended them as a sponsor before, so that's a different experience. Yeah, being on the organizing team and seeing how there's a lot of work going into getting these set up and running smoothly, and made me more appreciative of all the other camps I went to. Yeah. Well, you know how hard it is. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's rewarding. It's rewarding though to pull these off. People do appreciate it, and I had a fantastic time. WordCamp Grand Rapids this year is just outstanding.
It was awesome. Yeah, I look forward to the camps just because it's like seeing friends and seeing people you don't get to see all the time, and just networking and bonding, and I just love it.
Yeah. It has definitely gotten to be that way. What my experience at a WordCamp today, especially a local one, doesn't even resemble what my experience at my very first one was.
Same.
Not even at all. Years ago, I was going to a WordCamp and like just sitting in the sessions and taking copious notes and trying to network and meet the right people and and all this stupid, and to get help with all of my questions because I had all kinds of problems, major problems, building websites terribly and suffering from it. And now it's like a family reunion.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. I'm like, hey, give me your baby and I'll be back in an hour. Yeah.
Right. Probably more fun than a lot of family reunions, honestly. Yeah.
Agreed.
It's a great time. We had such a good time in Grand Rapids this time. All the cool people were there, and we just hung out, joked around.
Yep. It was a good day.
So you're going to continue to be involved and participate in the future, 2019?
Yeah. A different organizer has to take over next year because she's done her 2 or 3 years or however long it is. Mm-hmm. So then I think I might, watch a little more closely because I definitely think it's something, organizing was something I'd be good at because I make lots of spreadsheets and I'm, OCD and I'm like, I can do it. Yeah.
Totally. I strongly endorse that. You'd be a natural.
I think that will be one of the goals, not immediately, but I think that's more of a long-term goal for me is to, try to take over Camp Grand Rapids when the next person gives it up.
I really think you should.
We'll see.
Rock it. Completely. Yeah, but that's a unique and very strong, vibrant community, I think. I feel that way about a lot of what we have in Michigan. I think that we have some pretty tight-knit little communities, and Grand Rapids is pretty cool. But Grand Rapids is has a pretty strong tech scene anyways.
Yeah, Grand Rapids is growing quite a bit, medical industry especially, and there's technology everywhere in that for sure. So always booming.
We've had conversations before about whether we should move somewhere else, and anytime we do talk about that, it's like Grand Rapids actually looks really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's really like artsy. There's craft beer everywhere, distilleries. I mean, it's a fun town. It wasn't like this when I moved away like 15 years ago, but it's really a fun town now.
Where else did you live?
I lived in Virginia Beach and San Diego, California.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Navy wife for a while. Yeah. Move around. Yep.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. Those are Navy.
Yeah. 10, 11. He did 11 years in the Navy. Yep.
Wow.
Long time. But California was awesome. California was so awesome. Like we would have never been able to live there like without military money, housing and food and stuff cheaper, but it was so beautiful. It was so awesome.
It is. Yeah. It's super cool. I was just in San Diego a few months ago and yeah, it is a pretty special place. Yeah. Anyway, so what are some of the other things that you like to do in your spare time?
What spare time? Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I've just been kind of relaxing lately, trying to catch up on, I guess, just like mental health time. It's been a little chaotic of a year for me, so I have like a long list of books I want to read and video games I want to play, but it's kind of taking a backseat to some self-care time, honestly, because we all need that sometimes. Yeah.
Sure.
So this has been the year of just working WordCamps and kind of some self-care. A lot of the other stuff's taking a backseat right now.
That's cool.
And that's okay. Yeah, that's
totally.
okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I have the Lego Boost robot. Have you seen this Lego robot that you build? Oh my God, it's so cool. So it's like this big Lego kit, and you can build like 6 different things with it, like a robot or a guitar, or I forget what they all are. But then you program it on like on a tablet. You program whatever you built to like zoom around and go through obstacle courses, and like it is so cool.
Wow.
So that's like the only thing I've been playing with is Legos. But it's educational Legos. Yeah, so Lego Boost is fun. It's expensive, but it's fun.
That sounds like a total blast, man.
Yep.
Okay, is that something the kids get into?
Oh yeah, my son, he built the robot first, and we were playing with the robot, and he's like, I want to take it apart and build this other thing, and I'm like, we haven't even done everything the robot can do, you know. But he just quickly moved on to the next thing, and yeah, he has a lot of fun. Yeah.
Do you have any more travel in the plans? Attending anything?
Nothing lined up. I applied to US, but I don't know when that's going to get decided.
Sure. Hopefully we'll hang out at some local events here in Michigan. There's a couple more coming up.
Oh, Ann Arbor. Yeah, I'll be in Ann Arbor. Is that probably about the same time this year, October?
Ann Arbor is probably going to be in October. We're having some venue issues to work out.
Oh, okay.
But Jackson is next month.
Okay.
1 month from day after tomorrow, I think.
August 10th?
August 11th.
August 11th. Okay.
Yeah. So be there or just be there.
Noted.
It's gonna be fun. We're a little bit behind schedule. We're not on the ball completely like everybody in Grand Rapids.
Such a high bar to live up to. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's still coming together, and it's gonna be fun, just like it was last year.
I loved the jazz party last year. The jazz quartet. I loved it.
Oh, that's really good to hear. Yeah, and you were no, did you come to the dinner, the escape room with us?
Yeah, I did the escape. Yeah, that was fun.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I know.
We got out with like 30 seconds to spare. We got out of our room with, like, we barely made it.
Oh, that was such a thrill. Whew.
That was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any good recommendations for other people that I should ask to be on the show in the future?
Would have to think about that one. You're like, I mean, I'm sure you've had like Lima and any of those guys on here. No?
Chris?
Yeah.
No, I've never asked Chris to be on the show before, but I will eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it? Yeah. I know there's like a lot of new kind of smaller sponsors that are popping up, like the Green Geeks, and I forget what the other ones are now. But yeah, I just look for some sponsors that are relatively newer and try to pull up some names. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's always interesting to talk to people like that. Those who are kind of innovating or breaking into the space, doing things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that. Good recommendation. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you go to enough of these camps, you see, I mean, a lot of the same sponsors kind of over and over again. But then when you do see someone more unique, yeah, for sure, go after them and learn more about them.
Right on. All right. Well, that's about, I think I've got to get rolling to take my wife out to dinner for her birthday.
Yay.
So I'm going to let you finish up your Monday.
All right.
And I'm going to do the same. Thank you very much, Nicole, for joining me. It's been a great chat.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, this was fun.
Well, I'll see you in 1 month in Jackson.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.